Hello everyone and welcome to a new IK video. This is Ken from 73, and in this video we're gonna make a new tier list for the Triss skills. So basically all the Triss skills that you can find here, and we're gonna add Corrosive Power as well, but you know Corrosive Power cannot be purchased from the Wish shop yet. So this is what we're gonna talk about in this video. Hopefully we don't forget any kind of skills. So I'm gonna rank the skills based on where the skill is being used. For example, a skill such as Wind Rage is not really that important for any of the immortals that appear here except for Alex and Hani. However, the skill is an S tier skill in my opinion on an immortal such as Hani. So we're gonna rank the skill based on where it should be used or where it could be used. Alright, let's start. So here are the tier lists that we're gonna work on. And let's start with Weakness Protection. Weakness Protection is a skill that is not available anymore in the game. I don't think how you can obtain the skill. However, it is really not that great, and I don't think it is a good skill. Let's see the description. This is Guard. It looks like Guard, but it's not Guard. It's entirely different from Guard. There it is. After the battle starts, reduces the physical damage received by an allied unit with the lowest physical defense by 60%, and reduces the magical damage received by 60% as well, but it's only for 12 seconds and it is only a one time during the fight, so it is a D tier skill. I don't think I'm ever gonna use this skill. Demonic Contract is more like anger and concentration. However, it works for all kind of damages, and I really like the skill. It could be used in a lot of immortals and does boost some damage, but ever since Battle Stance came out, the skill is actually no match for Battle Stance. But Battle Stance is so much better compared to Demonic Contract. So if it wasn't for Battle Stance, I would have ranked Demonic Contract in the S tier. However, Battle Stance outmatched the skill so much. Toxin Barrier. Toxin Barrier is the best counter, is probably one of the best counters for mixed marches. However, mixed marches are not that popular anymore. Even if someone is using Alex, will be using a skill such as Blade Vortex on him, and he will not be counting on normal attacks that much. The skill used to be S tier, however right now it is an A tier at best, since mixed marches are not as popular as before. Fear of Domination increases your damage by 20% when your enemy is below 50% HP. So it is really good for fire marches. However, it's not the best option for fire marches, so I'm gonna put it in the B tier. Armageddon. Armageddon, one of the highest DPS skills on the game. However, it has a lot of conditions. Their conditions has to be met for the skill to provide full value. For example, you need a march that is full of sustain, either Holy or Earth March with Charles, or Athena in any kind of march. And also, you need the Immortal to fight the fight to last very long, because the skill costs in the second 50 of the fight. So it has to be a very long fight, and Armageddon will be the tiebreaker between two marches. So it's really not that great skill to be used. However, it is really good on Earth marches. I saw a lot of people using it on Loki and Holy marches as well. So I'm gonna put it in the A tier since it has some uses to it. Spear Impale is really not that great. Spear Impale is not that great since it only works on two targets. Where was Spear Impale? There it is. Every 6 seconds after the battle starts, you have a 55% chance, and this chance doesn't increase, to impale an enemy directly in front of you. So you impale the two enemies directly in front of you to cause physical damage. The damage is 325%. And increase the damage that the unit received by 15% for 3 seconds. 3 seconds is so small of a window to be applied, and the skill is not as much popular as before. Ever since Blade Vortex came out, I don't think it has that many uses. So I'm gonna put it in the C tier here. And of course, Blade Vortex, since we talked about it, will be in the S tier. Blade Vortex used to be not that popular since it used to have damage of 100% to all types of damage that's been applied, either the initial damage or the continuous damage that comes after. However, ever since the skill got buffed, the direct damage moved from 100% to 150. Same for the continuous damage here. It was 100% and now it is 150%. and it applies only to 3 random allied units, but this is more than enough to kill the entire March. The skill is so strong currently, and it also helps Loki to land his control more. It gives him a 50% chance to land his control. So this is definitely an S tier skill. Purification, one of the best skills to have in the game, and it is definitely an S tier skill. I know it is not as much used as before, since there is Full Fade, there's Athena right now. However, it is still used in some marches, such as mixed marches and earth marches. And also, it is the only counter for a skill such as Weakening Curse. Weakening Curse should be an S tier skill, to be honest, but just the fact that Purification exists makes Weakening Curse a P tier skill. The skill is so useless against Purification. And since everyone right now have access to Triss skill, I wouldn't recommend anyone to get Weakening Curse, to be honest, because player using mix, and by the way, Weakening Curse is the only works, it only works versus mixed marches or maybe earth marches with an Alex. So if someone is using Purification in these kind of marches, Weakening Curse will be useless. If you run against a fire team, a lightning team, a water team, a holy team, Weakening Curse will also be useless. So the skill is not really that great. I wouldn't even recommend it for any type of marches, except the opponent is using mixed without Purification. This is the only situation you could use Weakening Curse in. Jade Barrier used to be very good against magical damage. However, right now magical damage is not very popular. I know it is popular right now since there is Himiko, there is skills such as Demonic Contract and Battle Stance that could be used on Himiko or Loki. However, the skill is only good versus fire marches, because the way the skill works, let's take a look at its description. I remember it was down there or up there. I hate this. There it is. So it reduces magical damage received by 15%. I believe this is on the Immortal that is cubed with the skill. And when you receive magical damage, you have a 30% chance to apply shield to 3 random allied units. Shields will absorb magical damage up to 300%. So it doesn't have a cooldown, which is very nice. It does reduce the damage by 15%, similar to Fighting Master. However, every time you receive magical damage, it is every time you receive magical damage, you have a 30% chance. This is very low. A 30% chance is very low. And if you're up against an Immortal such as Himiko, who doesn't do magical damage a lot, but it does a big amount of magical damage, you will have very little chances to proc the shield. However, if you're up against an Immortal such as Sign Duke that deals a lot of magical damage, and it's all small damages, her ultimate skill, Chase, Annihilation, a skill such as Spell Disintegrator, you will have a very high chance to proc the shield. So it is only good versus an Immortal such as Sign Duke, and it is really not that usable versus any other Immortal. So I'm gonna put it in the B tier. I put it in the S tier. So I'm gonna move it up a bit in the B tier. This is my favorite one. This is definitely my favorite. This is definitely an S tier skill. This is Vitality Touch. Vitality Touch is, without saying, is the best skill to be used as a healing skill in the game, and it does insane defensive stats. If we take a look at the skill here, you see that other than the healing part, it does healing up to 400%. All allied unit, the allied unit that has been healed will be his magical and physical defense will be increased by 10% for 18 seconds. So his magical and physical defense will be increased by 10% for 18 seconds. This is definitely my favorite healing skill to be used in mixed marches and any other marches, to be frank. And combined with a skill such as Spring of Life, there it is. Combined with a skill such as Spring of Life, that the more you receive healing, the less damage you receive, and it increases the amount of heals that you receive by 25%. Is definitely a very good combo to be used in mixed marches, holy marches, or any other marches that uses heals. Guard is a very good skill to be used on Athena to protect the front row, or Charles to protect Alex. So it is definitely a much needed skill to be used to protect the front row damager. So it's definitely an S tier skill. This skill here that I forgot its name, Void Realm. Void Realm is very good to be used on attack immortals. However, it used to be good on Manko back when Manko was popular in Holy Marches. I know Manko is very popular. However, the main meta moving towards Poseidon at the moment, and Poseidon is not using Void Realm. Also, there is Athena right now that makes Void Realm entirely useless. You know how OP Athena is. So I'm gonna move it to the C tier. This skill is definitely one of the worst skills that you could get from Triss. It is definitely useless, doesn't work versus magical damage. I know someone in my server that uses the skill. We ran a couple of tests and the skill is just terrible. Smite, really not that great skill. And it used to be good on Holy Marches back then, but right now there is a much better replacement, so I'm gonna move it to the D tier. This skill was very good on Genghis Khan, however, there's again much better DPS skills currently, there's better replacement, so I'm gonna move it to the C tier. This skill is kinda good on an immortal such as Sign Duke. It is called, I forgot its name, but anyway, I'm gonna move it to the B tier. The skill procs every time you do a normal attack. I believe it was level 51 or 41. Yeah, 43. Every time you deal critical damage with the normal attack, increases the physical damage you deal by 55% for 3 seconds. So even if Sign Duke did a normal hit using a normal attack, the 3 seconds window is so little, considering Sign Duke doesn't have the best attack speed stats. So I don't think the skill is very good, so I'm gonna keep it in the B tier. Storm Strike is actually usable for Alex or Hannibal Barca since it's based on attack speed. I know it deals magical damage. I already did a comparison before compared to Storm Strike compared to Heavenly Thunder, and in my stats Heavenly Thunder was kind of better than Storm Strike, so I'm gonna put it in the C tier. However, the skill is still usable on Alex or Hanny. Unyielding was actually a bad skill when it was released. However, it received the buff recently, and right now it is actually not a bad skill to be used on attack immortals. So I'm gonna keep it in D tier. Energy Shield is definitely an S tier skill. Energy Shield is one of the best skill to use combined with Charles or to be used on Athena, and it does provide a lot of sustain for your marches. Executioner is probably the skill was intended to be used on Poseidon and only Poseidon, so I'm gonna put it in the A tier since there's a replacement for the skill currently. It is not the only available option for Poseidon currently. This is Heavy Lifter. Heavy Lifter does reduce the attack speed by 50%. It procs every time you do you cast your ultimate skill, so it's very good in Empress Swarm papers. However, Byakuya got the skill. We ran a couple of tests and the skill is not working as intended, and even the debuff stats, the decrease to the attack speed is not that great. This skill is very debatable. This is memory defense, right? Yeah, it's called memory defense. Looking at the stats of the skill, is this one. So after the battle starts, every 12 seconds, this is a very long time in a battle. However, since it is holy and, you know, maybe Earth marches, 12 seconds is kind of reasonable. There is a 65% chance to increase the healing effect you receive by yourself and the most damaged ally by 30%. And increase physical and magical defense by 10% for 12 seconds. So it does, the only stats that we're looking for here is the healing increase by 30% for 12 seconds. This could be very good on holy marches and maybe even mixed marches. However, it could only be used on defense and support immortals, and it does work every 12 seconds, and I believe there's so much better replacements at the moment, such as maybe Vitality Touch, and maybe it could be used with Vitality Touch and Spring of Life, but there is so much heals boosting at the moment. We got Theodora heals a lot, and there's also Fufei that heals a lot, and there's also Spring of Life that increases the heals for all the marches, for all the units by 25%. So I'm gonna put it in the A tier. The skill is still good, still usable, but not the best option. This skill, I ran a lot of this in either the Prime League or I've seen a couple of reports for people that unlock the skill, or maybe the open arena. The skill is not that great. It deals some damage, but again, I think there is a better replacement, such as if you use Blade Vortex on a ranged immortal, I believe it could be better. And also, it makes the immortal unmovable. It makes the immortal useless. It's simply like the Himiko exile, you know, the Himiko control. However, after the battle starts, every 12 seconds there is a 50% chance for you to enter stealth mode, becoming unable to act or be targeted. So unable to act means that you'll not be dealing damage, so it's not the best option to use on a ranged immortal. No escape is definitely an S tier skill, combined with one more immortal that deals control, as I showed in my Fire March before. A lot of controls coming out from such a skill, and it also slows down the march. Corrosive Power, if it's being used correctly, is definitely an S tier skill. It could be used on Hippolyta, it could be used on an immortal such as any kind of immortal that deals multiple damage with his ultimate skill, such as Kublai Khan, Hippolyta, Sign Duke, and the Shadow Immortal Tutankhamun. It could be used in all these immortals, and all these immortals will be fine. Is gonna receive insane amount of energy to deal with the skill. So this is my tier list for the current Triss skill. I'm gonna make more videos based on which skill that takes priority based on what kind of marches are you using. So this will be all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and have a wonderful day.